Dear friends, CEO of the DigiU ecosystem, Ognev Alexey. It's our webinar. Welcome to everybody. And today's webinar will cover several important issues which are circulating around, and many keep asking us about it. So we will discuss the international situation and how does the DigiU ecosystem feels in this context, and also discuss our plans for March, what is being preparing. And I would also like to answer questions that you would write in the chat while I'm talking. Please write your questions, communicate actively in our chat, because we always read all the messages in our chat, and it's very nice when we can see that people find some points of contact, some dialects which help them to solve some issues. Interesting, precise, important questions I'll definitely answer at the end of our webinar. So please write your questions. It will make our meeting more productive. International situation, of course. For the past few days, we are in the information field of this political conflict and the consequences that fall upon Russia. And of course, our partners from 182 countries keep asking questions, and we do answer them through our technical support, through charts, through various conferences. But in a nutshell, the DigiU ecosystem feels well. All our systems work on a regular basis, and all the activities that we've been undertaking, all our efforts in the past few years, they now generate the results. We've been up clusters, we've built us the infrastructure, which enable us to work without any interruption. Our blockchain technology, our artificial intelligence technology can store, process, and give access to any information throughout the accounts. Everything what is in the DigiU ecosystem works on an absolutely regular basis. And of course, it's wonderful. It means that all those efforts, all this work that's been undertaken was of high quality, and it was done in a timely manner, which is the most important. And it's worth sharing an opinion, an observation that the partners, our partners from different countries, they do support the DigiU ecosystem, supported in terms of what we do, how we do, and like us, they hope that all the conflicts will be resolved pretty soon, and the world probably will not be the same, but the world will reach some state of stability. And it's not in use for anybody that sanctions that different countries impose upon each other. Those sanctions enable more and more people turns towards blockchain as the currencies, and means that at the moment can be a safe harbor for your financial means, a safe harbor for your operations. And in this context, the activities undertaken by our system are getting increasingly more necessary, and there is an increasingly higher demand for this, and all technological solutions that we are able to implement through our systems, through the blockchain laboratory, the artificial intelligence laboratory, they do meet all the modern needs, the needs of the modern society. DigiU wealth, for example, against the growth of the dollar exchange rate, which is very noticeable in Russia, against the very unstable political situation, it gets additional inflow of investments, because people do understand, and I now talk about blockchain in general, people understand that this is the place where your finances are in your hands rather than in the hands of banks that really can block them until some circumstances are clarified. So in terms of every our product, we are in the trend. We are in a very advantageous position, and it's coupled with our ideology. In a simple words, it's explained to any person from any country of the world that it should be the main beneficiary of the modern technologies. So all these modern technologies in conjunction, the approaches to security and our professional attitude, all this taken together, the elements of our ideology, our mission, all this enable our system to feel secure, feel capable of helping people, and our partners often approach us, the partners who are affected by the conflict from Ukraine, from Russia, and they've got every possible assistance, and we do help them. Is it possible to say that it somehow affected the activities that we carry on in terms of developing products, in terms of safety that I was just talking about? No, it is not affected at all. On the contrary, it attracted more interest to the technologies that we are developing in terms of some local issues and processes. Not only us, everybody see that the world is in an unclear situation, some kind of a pause while solutions are on hold. And of course, it is reflected in negotiations with some funds because they're simply waiting for the information and economic fields to be stabilized. So we say, guys, everything is okay. There are some issues that will be resolved. But on the other hand, it does indicate that everything would be okay. So if the partners of DigiU, investors, all leaders, if they have any need in support, assistance, you can write to our support service and we'll give you all the necessary assistance, we'll answer your question, we'll sort out any issues with payment or whatsoever. Here, everything is at the very high level of organization and support. And I'd like to remind that for the Russian audience, the dollar exchange rate is fixed until the 10th of March, so you can use it in your account. Various bonuses and services are also available for the international audience, enabling you to buy, invest, and use our products at favorable conditions. If there are any questions regarding this issue, I'm going to answer them, but otherwise, I'm done with it. Next, a webinar that we held several weeks ago with Alexander E. And he talked about the venture fund, developing new products, visits to Dubai, and developing various lines of communications with big funds. And at the last webinar, Alexander said that we are invited to Dubai to take part in several exhibitions. So several strategic meetings are arranged, and I'm not afraid of this word, strategic meetings and negotiations. And at that stage, we were saying, okay, we do plan it. It was not that actual. Now we're talking about the fact that the decision that the DigiU founders are gonna visit Dubai. The decision is made, so we're gonna have for a few days a business trip for important negotiation in Dubai. We're gonna visit an exhibitions where we are invited to, and these strategic negotiations will be held, and I'm very pleased to inform you about it because the level of companies with which we interact, the level of the dialogue is very encouraging in terms of the efforts that we've done throughout these several years. It's wonderful that these efforts are now evaluated and appreciated at such a high level, which means we're very optimistic looking into the future. And our mood is to work with even higher energy. The news that we're going to bring back from Dubai will be, in good sense, pretty breaking for the DigiU system. So in a very good mood, we are now getting ready for the trip to Dubai. And we, of course, watch the international situations, because even a couple of weeks ago, it was just a routine to go to Dubai. You just buy tickets, you fly. Now, it is associated with some difficulties, because it's a little bit unclear how we fly it, how we should make sure that it's all going to be in a positive line. But of course, we're going to report about the preparations to our visit. We're going to immerse in the issue of negotiations. And of course, we'll share the information that we can share as soon as possible. Last webinar, we mentioned that not all negotiations are open. Not all companies that are involved in negotiations give permission for opening such information, disclosing it. It's a standard corporate culture. It's part of negotiations. That's normal that some of them should be conducted not in a public mood. But rest assured, whatever we can report to you, we'll do it. Whatever we can or should, we'll just inform a little bit later. So just follow our news. Overall, these are the two key points that I wanted to cover at this webinar. And I would say that this webinar is kind of a direct connection from the DigiU ecosystem to the outside world in this pretty difficult time, because all the news that I highlighted now, we've already published them in our social media. So I do recommend everybody to sign up. And when I was preparing to this webinar, I do understand that in case any resources are blocked on the territory of Russia, where I, for example, is now, please sign up to our social media. In the account, there is sections for information on social media, Facebook, Vkontakte, our Telegram channel. So sign up for all our resources. And also in our account, there is sections for bonus shares. Perhaps you didn't know about it, but if you sign to our social media through your personal account, then you get these bonus shares. And it's very recently, on the 1st of March, as part of the partner program regional promotion, was launched with valuable prizes. And one of the tasks for this period is, if I remember correctly, to repost the news from our account to the social media. Scores are allocated for this, and you can take part in a raffle of iPhones. Regional promo takes part in several regions, including Europe, the CIS countries, India, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Africa. And leaders gave a very warm welcome to it, and they joined it very quickly. So if you're involved in informational project promotion, just get to the account section titled Partner Program, and there is section Promo DigiU with full description and an instruction as to what you should do. Now we can proceed to questions, and here I see several questions from the Russian chat on YouTube, and then we shift to the foreign parts. Hello, Alexey. Qinling and other companies, they are not going to abandon cooperation with you. The government wouldn't force them to comply with the sanctions. What do we register here? We register that all large companies, well, they are large companies because they're very reasonable. they're very adequate. And if you look at the DigiU ecosystem, part of our team is in Russia, part of our team are the citizens of Russia, but also part of our team are citizens of Ukraine and of other states. We are an international company, so you shouldn't have such a narrow view that if you are in Novosibirsk, then everything is related to Novosibirsk. So when we communicate with various large blockchain systems, we do not face, and we have not faced, and I do think we are not going to face any discrimination based on the national ethnic principles in the world of IT, in the world of decentralization, in the world of blockchain technology, especially. Everyone understands everything. Everyone doesn't mix politics with such business. So rest assured that everything gonna be fine. Let me remind you, in terms of a legal element, we are registered in the Russian Federation as an autonomous non-profit company. Last year, we opened a company in the European Union, and throughout this year, there was a process of transferring intellectual property, and QST is one of the part of this procedure. So now we can say that we're a company that has an office in Novosibirsk, and part of our team is present in Novosibirsk. The rest of our team are in various cities of the world. So in terms of the legal element, in terms of the approach in general, in terms of the market on which we operate, there is no way we can talk now about various sanctions or prohibitions. Everyone understands that IT it's an advanced technology, an advanced industry, and blockchain is the future. So everybody is moving there. So with our protocols, with DigiU Wealth, with the partner community from 182 countries of the world united by a single idea. We're much more than just a company which concentrates within one country. It's not my personal opinion. It is based on objective data. There is a question about IDO. Well, I would say this is not exactly right questions to be addressed to me regarding Node. For this purpose, there are some chats and channels because I am from a DigiU ecosystem. So of course, I first of all follow up and watch what's happening in the DigiU system. So of course, I understand the dates, the various deadlines, and I have information about nodes, but at the moment I'm not prepared to talk about it, whether this information was already prepared in the audio channels and whether it's going to be some kind of an insight which I disclose now. I'm not sure, but what I want to tell you that everything is according to the plan, and the first stage of testing them is completed. The second stage is on, and now proposal is the offer is getting ready on nodes. Perhaps it's already published, and as far as I remember, the idea should take place either at the end of March or at the beginning of April. So you can get to the social media of Aver and check. And I can give you an example. For example, if for several hours you do not get to Telegram, and for example, I've read all the chats, and if for a couple of hours I don't get to the Ava chat, there can be several thousands of messages, and the Ava IT support, the team administrator, works at this level and answer all questions. And I always quote this an example. So you ask questions and get an immediate answer. Now, questions from the foreign chats. A Spanish chat. Hello, I'd like to know why DigiU Wealth profit has dropped down so considerably in February. It hasn't reached 2%. What is the annual forecast for this year for DigiU Wealth? Well, we've talked about this on several occasions. We talk that, first of all, we try to expand the tools of these products, and also we explained repeatedly what was the reasons why the revenues that were on a particular market initially, why they were going down. The logic is that in 2020, when we saw this DeFi phenomena, and we were one of the first to enter the market, and then in a couple of months we offered the DigiU Wealth product to the world. That was a new product, and everything was just very new or changing. So of course the products and projects that emerged in this market, they competed for users and they tried to attract them with a very simple way: high revenues, damping, something more simple which could attract the users, the high interest for placing liquidity for exchange operations. Naturally, and we talked about it from the very beginning, and you need to be a market specialist to understand the economic logic as to where things should be attracted. Then the conditions for attraction are created. When the market stabilizes, then of course the revenue level reaches some average weighted indicators. So that you understand, the work in the ecosystem of DigiU is done simultaneously in several directions, in several areas, and it enables us to reach high speeds and reach the result not always in the most obvious way. And I always give an example, that your brain is tuned from two sides. Metro channels is digged from two sides, so every task should be solved always with 3 or 4 approaches. So the same happens with DigiU Wealth. With the services, they can improve the revenue, the profit, and one of them is predictive analytics and algorithmic training of building those models. That's what the technical director does. And also, if you read our social media, then from last year, or perhaps the beginning of this year, we also work on issuing certificates that would allow any user from any country of the world to DeFi, mine DeFi through any broker. Maybe not any broker, but you can approach a classic broker and then you can allocate your money DeFi, which even more simplifies the entry to this industry and attracts the users. Naturally, will be some of the first players in the world who offer this technical solution. And at the moment, it is the high stage of readiness. The volume of money which is controlled by this, and if it becomes bigger, then of course it will influence all those indicators positively. I do hope I've answered your question. A question to DigiU CEO. Have you already filed an application for the DigiU.Voice patent in the European Union? Because I saw that you work on the universal instantaneous translation. And Zuckerberg work on this. Well, we haven't filed an application, a patent application to the European Union. And in the near future, how do we see these processes? Patenting is not the priority, and there are a number of reasons for this. First, the software development market. I might not use the very correct legal terms, but first of all, it's under the certain regulations, and also there is in principles of opening, and we are not for exclusivity but for applicability of a particular technology. So patent is good. It's an element of intellectual property. It's kind of an indicator that the invention is unique. But what is very important, applicability. And what is even more important is its commercial success. So we do not file applications for patent in the European Union. And right now we focus more on predictive analytics. And that is why work in terms of voice technology, speech technology, we concentrate not that much in our artificial intelligence technologies, but rather our venture fund considers various applications, talk with different teams that work on different technologies. And it's say right yesterday, I was given information from companies that approached us, and one of them deals with voice technologies. So, if it's been considered at several stages and then this application is on my table, it means that something serious. But generally, the point is that you does work in terms of this voice technology and artificial intelligence. A question from the French chat. I bought the package on the 28th of February for $1,000. Is it normal that the bonuses are reflected in the package divided by 2? Let me answer to this question the way I understand it. Honestly, I do not understand it completely, but probably it is. It means that a person doesn't see the bonus part or doesn't understand where it is. So, if you bought the package by installments, then all bonuses, then you have a payment schedule depending on the month for which you bought the package. So the entire bonus part is in the final payment. This is logical, and the most of shares are also the final payment because you undertake responsibility and we perform our responsibilities after you close this, and all shares, including the bonus one, are on your account. If something is not reflected or reflected incorrectly, put this question. You can do it in our English speaking chat or contact your national representative in your country, or you can write to the national supervisor. So if you are a French speaking person, you definitely know who to approach. We have a really good community in the French speaking countries, and professional leaders deal with all the issues very quickly. So use this means along with our support service who you also can approach. In view of the current situation, will the hackathon take place on this scheduled date? I believe, first of all, it's about Ava. No changes have been planned at the moment. Of course, we understand that some events, some international events, can change the dates. And it's first of all is related to the information background, because at the moment all news channels, all social media, attention of all people obviously is on particular issues. It's very difficult to fight against the information field. So many companies, many information means mass media, many of them take a pause because it's difficult to go against the information field. And due to this pause, some events can be postponed a little bit, because when everyone looks at one particular point, it's not always expedient to hold a particular event. But in terms of the hackathon, there are no changes so far. If they happen, that's most probably will be an objective reason. And this objective reason will definitely be in the interest of the DigiU ecosystem and Ava. Couple of more questions and then we'll stop. I'd like to check if the promotion for iPhone Pro is still in place. So that's a promotion for our partner program. So what we've done last year, first of all, we organized the first international promotion with some prices like iPad, MacBook, iPhone, and securities packages. It was an international promotion, so all countries participated. And we announced then that in the future, there would be regional promotions because it is also important to reveal, to find who are the leaders in particular regions and reward them for this. On the 1st of March, the first regional promo was launched. I already mentioned it. The prizes are iPhone, Apple Watch, earphones, and perhaps some securities packages will be added. All information can be found on our partner program section on DigiU, and it just launched, so everyone have a chance to get the leading position. Next question. I'm trying to understand because it takes a little bit of time because it's translated, so I need to check. Oh, yeah, see, it's not a question, it's perhaps a comment. Our partner shares the opinion that those imposed sanctions are related to banks, to some manufacturing, such as defense industry, space industry, and the partner says that it only attracts attention to artificial intelligence and blockchain, so it's to the DigiU advantage. I agree fully because now people all over the world try to find a safe harbor where they can invest. And it's first of all blockchain and how to perform particular exchange operations. So there are more because people who invest, who want to invest, they haven't disappeared. But there is kind of an informational bubble, and this bubble gonna develop to a particular direction. It's gonna be developing anyway. It just cannot stay idle without movement because that's not the goal of this bubble. So naturally, people all over the world once again are turning their attention to artificial intelligence. And due to this reason, in particular, we are going to hold strategically important negotiations, and we are in a good mood. We understand the current situation and our position in the context of this situation. As for AVA tests, there are difficulties starting from the fourth stage. Well, as far as I know, the fourth stage alpha testing is accessible. What is it, 4 to 6? So if you have any difficulties with going through alpha testing, please use Ava chat and its administrators will help you in the real-time mode. So just get there, give your questions, they'll respond. You can either drop their screens in the chat or through personal messages and you'll sort out everything. I see no more questions. People in the Russian chat on YouTube, they wish peace to everybody, and I joined these wishes because peace is where we all look now. It's what is really in the center of our attentions all over the world, and we contribute to it. And now I talk first about the mission that we've chosen for ourselves: accessibility and benefits of all modern technologies in the interest of any person. It is this particular approach, in our opinion, that in a distant future can bring the mankind to such a society where international or any other conflicts will be impossible and will not be necessary. So we work towards this direction. Take care, and thank you so much for joining us at this webinar.